Hello guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to another episode of Olivia's Corner. Thank you for your patience as I took a little bit of a break there. I was behind on lots of things and also went on vacation. My name is Olivia, and I tell stories. I'm in school for writing for film and television, so if you want to come along for legends about D&D, lessons and things that I'm learning in film school, or any other kinds of stories that I'm working on, make sure that you are subscribed and turn on that notification button so that you get notified when I put new videos out. Also, feel free to like and comment if you like the content of this video, or if you have suggestions, or just like what I'm doing. I read every comment. I love them. If you're thinking, gosh, Olivia, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. Why'd you go on vacation? I wore a mask the whole time. And it's one of those things where we booked it a year before, paid for it, non-refundable, and we're like, yeah, the pandemic will clear up by then. People will be smart. We'll get vaccines. So anyway, I had lots of fun, if you're wondering, and I'm back now, and I'm ready. So here we are. I don't want to be one of those people that just rants and raves about how great my vacation was for an entire episode. I don't think y'all want to watch that anyway. So instead, we're going to talk about more things that I'm working on in stories. So my updates, I suppose. My D&D party recently had a huge lore drop. Basically, my party discovered that the girl that's been traveling with them is the, heir to the throne or leader of the invading nation. I've been sitting on that for probably a year. So basically, my update is that there was a huge development, and all my players leveled up. So they're moving on to the next story arc. They threw me for some good loops and asked some good questions. I'd say the highlight of the most recent or one of several, there were a lot of good things. One of the highlights of the most recent episode would be when one of the players challenged the way that this girl was talking when she was revealing all this information about herself. So the girl's name is Kella, and she had been this sweet and wonderful farm girl who was traveling with them to train up Waylon, the heir to the throne, who I've talked about before. And Kella was revealed to actually be not sweet, innocent little, I don't remember what I gave her the pretend last name, Kella of Oakenvale, and is actually Kella Korath, Sucratha of Sundalore. That's a lot of big words. Sucratha is the word I came up with for the sort of title. There's a matriarchal society where her mother is the person on the throne right now. So her mother's title is Sucratha. She's the heir to be the next Sucratha. And then of Sundalore, which is this epic name that was actually partially inspired by Trenzalore. If you watch Doctor Who, it's this kind of, it's a little less ominous than the word Trenzalore sounds, but you know. It's the city that she comes from on the continent that she comes from, and yeah, it was a big lore drop. One of the really cool things that happened is that in the story, I wrote that this character, Kella, had come in 8 months before. I told all of them this, so this is not a spoiler. Though it happened really fast, so if this feels like a spoiler, if you're one of my players, it's because I said it really fast. Do that when I get excited. Kella came in with her warriors that fight with her 8 months ago, spoke with the king, King Bellinor, and if you've been following along, Bellinor's kingdom is the kingdom ruled with an iron fist. So she didn't clarify whether she spoke with King Bellinor himself or just his council of people, but whoever it was that she spoke with laughed her off when she asked for help and threw her and her people in the dungeon. She did not specify or clarify or maybe know why they did that, but they were stuck in a dungeon for a while. They fought their way out, and they said, okay, everything we've heard about this continent is confirmed. They are people who are just going to get in the way of our mission, and we need to move on with Plan B, which was hold down the fort. So, one of the very intentional things that I have tried to weave into this part of the story is Kella is operating on what she understands to be true of the continent. That is as much as any of us are doing. She had only ever heard that the people on the continent of Velsar, which is where my campaign takes place, are... how do I say this? Are the kind of people who will try to press the rules, overcomplicate everything, and get in the way of the people who are... I mean, if she walks in and says I'm from a different continent, they're gonna try to shut all the doors. That is her understanding of how this continent operates, so of course she wasn't gonna just walk in and be like, hey, random person on the street, would you like to help me find this ancient artifact that I'm looking for? Like, where she comes from, I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler. Not really, it's just a cultural thing. I guess it's kind of a spoiler. Where she comes from, her people look to their authority figures, their leadership, for all of the guidance. So where she comes from, it would have been rude or disrespectful or breaking their tradition to go to the leader of a city rather than to go to the highest authority and ask questions. So one of the things that I built in intentionally is that there is a cultural difference here that my party is going to have to kind of reconcile with. These people are not being rude, or what they're doing is not necessarily wrong or the wrong way to do things. It is just different. They've actually already done a pretty good job of working towards recognizing that. Coffee break. So back to the cool character moment. As Kella is talking about what she's done already, that she tried to come in and talk to the king, she's using this language that I personally hate but very much fits this character of, well, my people came in and tried A, B, and C, and your people put us in a cage. I hate using us and them language, but I find myself doing it a lot, so I think it was very apt for this character. So she's just like talking on about how like your people are the ones that put us in cages and your people are the ones who wouldn't let us through or help us at all and like made things really difficult. And one of the players said, okay, now stop for a minute with your us and them language. Stop saying your people. The king sits up on his throne. He doesn't know what we're doing down here. He doesn't give two shits. He didn't say it that way. That was the vibe that came across. Like, stop generalizing all of our continent based on your interactions with the king. And that was a really good point that she maybe needed to hear and maybe will need to process, because, I mean, that would have been a very appropriate generalization where she comes from, and, like, someone's gonna have to, you know, demonstrate that the ways that she's been told these people will interact with her are not true to how they will actually interact with her. Does that make sense? So it was refreshing that someone did the thing that I have tried to do before and just said, like, no, don't use that differentiating language like that. Stop lumping us all into this group. But, like, also it's refreshing that there's more to it than that. It's not quite as simple as just stop lumping us. There's also, okay, well, show me that you're not this kind of person, because all of my experiences led me to confirm that the thing that I've been told is the way that you are. So it'll be an interesting, challenging stretch for my my players. There were lots of other character moments that happened that were interesting, and emotions were running strong and high, and I think it was a good session. And we're taking a pause now so I can work on other things and the other DMs can come out to play. Update number 2 is that in school, I just moved into the month where I am writing the first act of a movie. So that's intense. The movie I decided to write to make my life not chaotic, more so, is based on one of the backstories of my D&D character. So my main character is Asteria. When I wrote her as a D&D character, I was in love with the story that I was telling. And I have since come to be concerned that it's not different enough from every story about a girl warrior that's out there. When I was talking to one of my best friends about it, one of the things that I came to conclude was that I had as I have done before, moved towards the expectations that my professors were giving me at the expense of myself, putting myself in my story. So if I wrote this movie as a D&D, like this character concept was a D&D character, that means that this is a woman that I wrote with aspects of myself poured into her. I don't want to lose aspects of myself back when I'm writing her as a character. So I'm trying to figure out what is missing and how to make her unique without making her like the cliche unique. Like, I don't want to make her, I'm the coolest girl because I'm not like other girls. That's bullshit. That's not what I want. So I'm trying to make, anyway. I'm working on a movie and I'm a little bit stressed about my plot points. So I'm going to drink all of this coffee and then write a movie. Yes, that's the thing I have to do. This has been your Olivia update. I'm sorry if it's less entertaining than your normal Olivia updates. Next week, I'll probably be doing another Get Ready With Me, working on world building, because the world of my TV show is the world that I'm trying to put Asteria in, this character of this movie. So I need to kind of decide the cultures and climates of different cities so that I know which cities, or sort of, oh, I need to make kingdoms. Interesting. I don't know that continent's divided by kingdoms. I've got some work to do. So tune in next week for your episode that is a Get Ready With Me of me building up more information about the world of my TV show. Thank you so much for joining me and coming along on this adventure. I hope that it was entertaining for you or that you learned something about my process. If you have ideas, suggestions, comments, I would love to hear them. I need all the help I can get making good stories. So if you are interested in engaging in that, there are comment sections below. I am glad you're here. Thank you for showing up, and I will see you next week. Okay, bye. I need to close the window. I guess side note, I'm not allowed to have colorful hair at work, and this is really not doing it justice, but I colored it blue for my vacation, and it's fading to this like green silver that's like kind of fun but kind of gross. So my red's coming back in, which is cool. Anyway. Oh no! Put this part back at the beginning because I forgot to do my intro. There are noises outside. I should have closed the other window too. Ooh. I don't know if it's tracking. Okay. I guess this is bonus content. I've been on TikTok recently, and I've been following the lesbians of TikTok, and they're wonderful, and when they work on thirst traps, they're teaching me lots about how to interact in the LGBTQ community. But they do these thirst traps, and they just touch their lips. I don't know how to do it. Maybe someday I'll learn the ways of the thirst, but it will not be this day. Now back to featured presentation. Okay.